Good afternoon, and welcome to today's episode of Speaking the Truth About Money with Martin Coward and Joy the Wise Woman. I am both Martin Coward and Joy the Wise Woman. Martin is my human name, and Joy the Wise Woman is my spiritual name. As we all know, we are all fully human and fully spiritual. And we're here today to talk about our spiritual nature and how we can use this spiritual powers, this program we're using called the OPP program, to unlock that unconditional love energy, that field beyond the mind that Rumi talks about. I'll meet you in that field to unlock that infinite intelligence, that infinite unconditional love energy. And today I'm excited because I've got my business partner, Abba King Henry, as my guest today to talk about a program that we're both doing together called the OPP program to unite LGBTQ Africans with LGBTQ plus allies in the Western world to develop relationships so we can begin to learn to love and support each other, to create a virtual community, a virtual, loving, supportive community for the betterment of our world. And it's working so beautifully. We've been doing it as a pilot, and we're about to launch it as a full-time program. But we first wanted to get we wanted to figure out how it worked. And I got to say, it's working beautifully. We've already gotten people moved out of the camp and living in Nairobi. And we've also got people who are connected and becoming friends who really want to support each other in the world, and they're living their lives of mission. So, Abba, I want to thank you so much for, one, and all the work that you do as my business partner and helping me and help what we do together is just phenomenal. I've never had more fun in my life than since I met you and we began to work on this project to move our LGBTQ brothers and sisters into a safe environment where they can live and they can enjoy life and they can thrive and they become financially successful. So tell us, before we get started, Abba, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story, if you will. And we met doing the OPP program when I was in Nairobi. And so we know firsthand, and what we're doing is we're using ourselves as a model, and now we've expanded to about 6 other couples through this OPP program, and it's working beautifully. So, Abba, thank you for joining me, and tell us a little bit about your story, your history, how you got here, and what you've discovered about OPP and the power of that human connection.
Thank you so much, Martin, and I'm delighted to be here. I am Abba Henry, and my spiritual name is Christ the King. My mission is to lead up the team of champions to the safe environment, and most especially we mean the LGBTQ, whom we're facing the same challenges in this country called Kenya. Briefly, Abba Henry is an asylum seeker in Kenya. I was born in Uganda, raised in Uganda. Because of the challenges that gay people face, and at large, the LGBTQ community, because everyone is not safe, I was forced to be displaced, and I found my way to Kenya. So I've been staying in the camp for 3 years before I traveled to Nairobi. And that gave me a chance to realize how awful life is, most especially for the guys who are staying in the camp. In that way, we gathered strategies to see that at least in our powers, we can be able to develop a program which can help everyone to live in a safe environment. You see, briefly, before I go and to talk about my history, I realized that in Africa, most especially the LGBTQ, our main problem or the general problem on the ground is unemployment. And it's very hard for us to find jobs or employment in this circular, in this community. And there we have to come up with some strategies, and one of them is creating the jobs online. But before we create the jobs online, there has to be in place some things that we have to do and people that have to follow, and those are principles. And one of the principles that we are standing on is the OPP program, because it's a well designed program that everyone can lean on to get what we call transformation. Before everyone shifts the mind, we have to first train that mindset to get the transformation that you have to do this, you have to go through this, you have to know this and this and this. That's when you can believe in yourself. Getting to know your worth and all of that. So that's what we are doing. And we are doing the element which is called the OPP program, that is Omega Point program, to make sure our fellow LGBTQ can get a chance to live a life of abundance and prosperity.
Let's pause for 1 second there, because you're touching on the exact big problem that we're trying to solve. And
Yes,
that
sir.
and let's talk about the problem of unemployment for the queer community in the entire continent of Africa. It's not just in Kenya. It's not just Uganda is one of the worst countries in Africa because of the kill the gay law, where it's actually legal for a family to hold on a second. It's actually legal for a family, parents, to kill their gay children to save their family name. So a lot of the refugees and the asylum seekers living in Kenya come out of Uganda or come out of these more difficult countries where you in your own situation escape a gunshot. You escape somebody trying to kill you, and and if they did kill you, they wouldn't even go to court because you're a gay person and you're less than human. So that's why you've got the problem, but of your life really. But the other problem that you face is unemployment, and that's because and tell us why unemployment is such a bad why there's unemployment, why LGBTQ people are unemployable throughout the continent of Africa. We'll talk about that. Means illegal as a refugee in Kenya to work because you don't have papers. But talk about the general problem of unemployment for LGBTQ people in Africa.
Thank you so much, Martin. I would like to say everyone knows it is really hard for someone to get an employment. And generally, Africans, we face the challenge of being unemployed at large, whether you're straight, whether you're LGBTQ. But there is, actually, let me say it, in African culture, there is what we call homophobia. As LGBTQ persons are not taken as human beings. And this becomes worse, whether you're in your own country, whether you're in a second country where you're seeking asylum, or the third. LGBTQ, most especially on the side of Africa, they've been not recognized, even if they're in industries and someone gets to know that that is a gay person, that is a lesbian, they feel like it's a curse. And in that manner, let's say for the people who've been traveling from their country, they left their countries for the safety because of the persecutions, because of the threats and all that. It becomes worse because they are still in Africa. Let's say coming in Kenya. First of all, you have less authority. You're not compared to a national. And even if you are able to work in a certain organization or a company, and you're a refugee or an asylum seeker, you work for the peanut. You can't work for the salary. I've ever experienced that because I've been working for an organization. So what leads that? The homophobia, because still you're not taken as a human being. And if you're able to get in a sector where you can be able to survive, as in to get anything you can do on behalf of your life, like for the sake of your life to be able to survive, still you will not be considered. You'll be neglected. So there is few on the ground, less for the all the because if I'm not mistaken, we're more than 1,000 LGBTQ persons with the profile of LGBTQ. And that number, there is no way they are discriminated. They are not considered because I've ever, I remember one day I talked to you and I was like, I'm doing the interview for medical assistant, but I was not given. And it's not only me, even my colleague that I was working with as LGBTQ outreach, still was denied in an organization which is under Kenyan authority, like it's under the health sectors in Kenya. But we are recognized because they know our profile. We were denied out. They could not give, and we had all the papers, we had all the experiences that they need because we are working in the hospital. But we were denied. I thought it was all about me, but still, even my friend told me the same thing. As we keep on creating allies, now like the doctors, some we used to work with, and they know much about LGBTQ, and they were not a bit discriminative. Some of them told us, why you guys didn't you like why didn't you qualify for this, whatever. But they denied us, they didn't call us, and we found that we are not on the list. How comes? Because all the qualifications, you had all the credentials, you had the experience, you've been working with us for 2 years, and they are considering 1 year. You know what to do, you have the papers. How comes? Checking the system, it was all about the people who work there. They were like, we cannot give Ugandans such kind of an offer. And that works to everybody, whoever goes there, not only where they are seeking jobs, but even when you create up your own job in an environment where you're not needed, more so Kakuma, because people know you, our fellow refugees know us, however much they are not LGBTQ. So what does it mean? The majority of the people who can support you are straight people, and they are against what you putting in the place or what you're running in the place. That means they won't support you. Your business won't survive without clients. And not all of the LGBTQ, as we are talking about 1,000 people, that they will be in one area because they are scattered. So let's say if you're running a hotel in one area and you're expecting the clients to come, and the people around you are straight people who know that you are a gay person, and they take you as a curse. So what they can do best for you is to ban that hotel for you, is to see that you fail, either you go away so that you cannot appear in their community. So we are still struggling with that backwardness. I don't want to say like, but it could be like ignorance because people are
Yeah,
not aware of what they are
homophobia
supposed
is
to do.
ignorance, and it sounds like
Yeah.
to me what let me just kind of capsule that is that the
Hmm.
unemployment is a problem because there are not any allies in Africa really, because it's they're too afraid to stand up for you because they're going to be, let's say you do have a hotel and you are an ally and you want to hire LGBTQ people, but they're afraid to, because if people hear that you've got gay people working in your hotel, they won't come to your hotel. So it hurts their business. So there's a whole chain of problem of unemployment for LGBTQ people in Africa, whether they're asylum seeker or not, because of the curse, of course, of the homophobia and the feeling that people don't want to do business with people who've got gay people working for them. So there's the problem that we're trying to solve. And the way we're trying to solve that is by going out into the internet, going out into virtual space, and getting jobs as virtual assistants, as graphic designers, as accountants, because now we're moving to a world of virtual space and you guys can work in virtual space. Now, what's the next problem that we have? And that is the relationship, the knowing of each other. And there's a huge gap in understanding between, let's just say the Western world, American LGBTQ entrepreneurs and business leaders who need to hire you, who have jobs and could hire you and could use you. And there's a big gap in knowing you, understanding you, knowing how you could work for them, what you could do for them. And so there's what we're exploring here in all that we do in Heart Space is how do we, instead of starting with the transaction of hiring a bookkeeper or hiring someone, we got to build a relationship first. And that's what the OPP program is doing. It takes two people through a very simple daily self regulated process to just ask each other some questions to get to know and like each other and begin to support each other as human beings. And that's what OPP is. OPP is a self directed program to really find self love. But we're just using the first 5 days as a starter to introduce Western LGBTQ people with African LGBTQ. And that's what has been so amazing, because the relationships that are forming are love driven. They're driven out of love for each other. And then when you have that relationship, then we can create the transaction, a financial and transaction of employment. But that's the idea of the OPP, is to give people. It's a formula that we found from Bill Wick, a guy that I know, designed to help people get to know each other and to love each other, and I mean in a deep agape kind of way, in a real heart centered connected way. Could you share a little bit of your experience, because you and I've done it, and tell a little bit of the experience? So somebody talk a little bit about the transformational experiences that have happened among African people who have met Western people. Talk about it from your side, who have met some, and you can use some examples if you want to. People on your side who've met people on my side through the OPP program, and what's happening there.
Yes. Generally, I want to draw a general picture so that people can understand what we're talking about with the OPP. After realizing and after knowing the problem and the challenges that we are facing, um, all the challenges that we face, like say in the camp and all that, we're not leaving them, we are not ignoring them, but we are understanding everything starts with our lives. Everything starts with us. Before you cry for people for help and all that, because there are few people who can come out and they say, you know what, we are coming for your rescue directly. This had to start with us, and this is what we are trying to do. Like we now, after using the OPP with my experience and knowing at least OPP is a program that brings people together, puts people together to love each other, to get to know each other. We are using it as a tool to put people together, to create, to cultivate that relationship between our side, like the African side, and the Western side. It is easy for someone to get to know your purpose when you're working with him, or after knowing you, after cultivating that relationship. And coming up from blue, and you say, Martin, help me with some money. I am facing this challenge. And for how long will you be asking Martin money when you have problems? Thus, we came up with a program, and we're like, we can make people on our side. Like, I am working as a virtual assistant. We're having social sellers like Undertrix, the Paul, Khalid, Aisha, and the likes. We are still like producing more people on the ground. But this has to start out of love. People have to get to know you. People have to be in a position to love you, and you have to be in a position to love back. What does that mean? It means you have to open up your heart. The challenges that we're facing, it is us facing them. It means still it is us to get out of that. Crying, sitting down and start crying over the problem and yelling out and telling everyone we have problems, we are facing this, they are raping us, when we are not cutting the strategies to see that we can get out of that. Because if a person becomes self-reliant, can be able to take care of himself, our own self, or ourself. Like me, I can be able to, if I get to know that Kakuma is not being safe for me, but I can be able, let's say I'm working as a virtual assistant and I'm earning some money, because if I cannot be able to get a job in Kenya or in any company, if I'm being able to work online and I'm getting some money, I can be able to take care of myself, and then I can relocate from the refugee camp to a nearby town where I feel like I'm safe, or from there to Nairobi where I can find the internet and all of that. And it's still the same way, we need people to learn. People need to study. There are many people who left their studies because of the situations that have been happening to them in Uganda or in different countries. Because LGBTQ don't come from Uganda alone. There are many people are still facing persecutions and the like. So we came up with a program. We're building this program, and it cannot come out of blue. It has to get the pillars where it has to stand. And that's where we are first creating this LGBTQ global community, a virtual space where we want people to know each other, have that love, know each other, and they get to know actually even the truth about us. Because most of the people would want to help, they would want to come in, jump in, and help. But how are they going to help you? As I've said, it's hard for a person to come in and say, I'll give you this kind of amount of money to help you rescue yourself. But it is easy if, because there are many people who have companies and they would want to like to recruit our people from the camp, so long as they know what to do. So for us, what we are doing, we are, like we are filling up that gap whereby if you need the skills and the employer needs, needs the whatever, the manpower, we equip you with the skills so that you can fit to be working on the other company. And more so, we are looking on the western side because we know that's where our luck is. That's where, our hope is. We are not
I,
looking on the side. Though we
I,
need to create more allies, we need to let Africans know that LGBTQ are human beings. They don't have problems. They don't hurt. They don't bite. They are not poisonous. You
I'm gonna,
you
I'm
know?
gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna talk a little bit for you. So you do not bite, and you're not. I'm going to talk a little bit about the value I get.
Mhm.
That's that's huge from hiring you, from having you on my team. And you are my virtual assistant, but you're a lot more than that. You're my almost like a chief of staff, and I do have a team of now four LGBTQ people, gay men who are living in Kenya, in Nairobi, who are supporting my business. And the technical skills that Abba's learned and all of the rest of the guys, Andy and Khalid uh, and Paul, those skills, they're not complicated skills. And even though you lived in a camp for years and didn't even know what a Google map, you've learned those pretty quickly. But the real value I get, and this is what I want people to understand, is the love and the support to build my business. That's priceless. That's priceless. You can't teach someone to care about you. You can't teach someone to connect with you from the heart. And what we're learning about working in virtual space, the internet is great for transactions, but we suck at figuring out how to build relationships. So our whole philosophy is if you build the relationship first, get to know, like, and support each other, and love each other and want to work together, then the transaction to support each other becomes really easy because you're coming from your heart, you're coming from love, you want to do the work, you want to support each other. And I can say for me, getting on the phone every morning on Zoom with Abba and the rest of my team in Heartspace opens me up every day to that deeper connection to unconditional love within my heart. And we are 10 times more productive than I ever was in the past. We're 10 times more creative, and we get done things in a fraction of the time, and we can take the afternoon off and enjoy our summer going to the beach. That's the value. Yes, you can find anybody that can go out and you can do social selling, do graphic designs, bookkeeping. But to find people to do it with love, that's difficult. And that is the gap we're trying to fill on my side. We're not just trying to find out people who to employ because we feel sorry for you. We're trying to find people who we can employ who are going to help us build and grow our businesses from the heart, love. And most of us that I talk to, people that I work with, we're all change agents. We're all thought leaders. We're all entrepreneurs. We're trying to make a difference in the world. And being out there on the cutting edge like that, where we're constantly having to go out and be a little bit vulnerable with our ideas and our thoughts and our ways of changing the way the world works, we need a team on our side to support us emotionally and spiritually, as well as the physical tasks. But most importantly, what I want you to understand and I think it's because you're just such heart-centered people in Africa that you don't even realize how much value that adds. That's why I want to make sure that I'm adding this in here, Abba, because the value you and your team and put together for me every day is priceless. There are mornings I wake up, I'm like, what are we going to do today? And you say, we're going to do this today. Because we got to get more people into your program. We got to get some more clients. We got to make some more money. We got to get more people in the heart space. So your value is priceless in the love and the support that you provide to me as I'm going out there every day trying to build my business, trying to build our practice. And that's what I want people on our side to understand is that we've got this. We need to hire people. We need people who can work for us, who are going to support our cause. The African people, they need jobs, but the gap is that we don't know and understand each other. And I'll run into people. How are they going to get on the phone? How are they going to do? How are they going to do? They don't know. Do they understand English? All these thoughts, all these fears in their head are because they don't know you. And then you have fears in your head. It's like, how am I going to be able to be, when you first hired, you said, I don't even know what a virtual assistant does. And I said, well, don't worry about it. I'll teach you. And I taught you. You do a great job at that. But also there's a lot of fear on your side of, you're so desperate for jobs. If you get one, you're so afraid you're not going to be able to do it. Often it's hard to do the job because your head's so full of fear, you can't work really efficiently. So what we're doing with the OPP system is we're saying, let's get started with the relationships, bring down those fear barriers, those fear shadows, those fear blocks. Get to love and know each other and care about each other, and all that fear goes away. And what becomes primary focus is the fact that we want help and support to build our businesses, and you want to help and support us build them, and you want to make some money so you can enjoy life like everybody in the world, because we all need money to pay our bills, buy food, rent, and you're not having to beg. Is that pretty close to what I'm trying to summarize, because we're running out of time here, dear. So I just wanted to see if I could put that into a real overview of what we're doing here. Would you like to add something to that?
Exactly. And thank you for articulating that on my behalf. And I really wanted to add on something like, you see, in our community, people live a vulnerable life, as in, to be honest. People are in a situation whereby a person spends 2 years, 4 years without feeling that moment of being loved, being cherished, being honored, being recognized. And there they face the challenges and the mental problems and the like. That's why for us, actually, we feel joy that we work with a person who knows us, a person who loves us back. It feels good being in a position or working in a company or anywhere, wherever you're working, and the people who employed you love you back. You know,
Yeah,
ev-
that's just it. It's
Mhm.
important to work for people who love you and love you back. That is the key, because the power of everything is the power of love. And when you
Exactly.
love, and when I love you and you love me, everything else just works, because that's the power of love. Love is the creation of all things. And so what you just said, Abba, is the key. And the OPP opens that door of love between two people who come from two completely different worlds to discover they really have much more in common and that we're all just one big heart living in different bodies around the world.
Yes, because I believe we decided to take OPP because we saw it and we believe it has gotten the ability to move on. Like there are people who on the ground, a person lives and doesn't know the worth, doesn't believe in himself or herself that I'm loved or I can love. The love that we're talking is the unconditional love, being there and you know this person has a value. I should love this person as I love myself. You know, there are even some people who are there, like they're employers, but they're like, I can't love, or I don't feel that in me. What are we talking about? What is the unconditional love that people do talk about? But OPP puts it right, and it can teach these guys how to connect to each other. And I'm telling you, for those few people who've ever shared or who've ever plugged the OPP program, will know what we're talking about. Like Elvis, Geoffrey, I can see them, and the tricks and the likes. OPP puts in position, and then it sets your mind. It shifts your mind. You know, you as a person who've not been loved for a long time, like you always feel like you're not worth, you feel like you're abandoned and all that. Still, it gives you the courage to believe in yourself. I Abba
Yeah.
was not like this. Is you know we stopped saying someone rescued my life, like me Martin rescued my life. We don't say that because we realized with the with the aid of OPP, someone can come back to life. You can live, you can be normal, you can be walking, but inside you you're not alive, you're not living. You just survive, you just see tomorrow, but you don't know how you even get there. But there
Yeah.
is the having hope.
Yeah, let's pull that out, because I'm a
Mhm.
spiritual teacher, and what you're talking about is bringing you back to life spiritually, and that's what the Jesus talks about in the Bible when he brings back Lazarus, when he brings Lazarus back to life. He goes in, and these people are spiritually dead. And when you're spiritually dead, like when I found you in the camp, you were physically alive, but you were getting up every day, going doing the best you could to survive, to take care of each other and take care of your people. But there was a
Mhm.
sense of 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 death. You just weren't alive. You were just struggling to get through the day. And I remember when I hired you and just offered you a job, and you literally came to life spiritually. You literally came to life spiritually. And if we can bring people, and I love that you said that, because I didn't rescue you. I came in and I said, I really love you, and I want you to have a good life. And I know you're struggling, and I know you're having a difficult time, and I need a virtual assistant. And if I can pay you to be my virtual assistant, I'll teach you what you need to know so that you can come back and have a good life ahead of you. And you can come, and you came back spiritually. And when you come back, we are spirit. And when we come back spiritually, we come back to life. Is that pretty accurate?
Exactly. Whenever you get hope, you get back to life. A person who loses hope loses life. Because the moment you lose hope, you reach, actually that is the journey of death. There are many people who are living on that stream, and the ending point is death. People lose hope. They don't know they are behind, they don't know they are, they are front, and they are just there. But the moment you start getting hope, because you expecting positivity in life, and that's what we want to create in all LGBTQ, believing themselves, however much they are undermined, however much they are stepped on, there is a chance. We are creating up chances, and we want to see that we are motivated by ourselves, not from other people. Let's start motivating ourselves by ourselves. And the only way is to engage into programs like the OPP program, get what we are doing. Don't wait, because yes, we are leaning on the government of Kenya and UNCL, but they are not there to offer jobs. They are there to see that you survive. You just surviving because they gave you somewhere you can stay, which is not your country, but you there, they will not care for you like buying for you food. knowing your health status and their likes. You have to struggle as a man and as a woman. And the only way, by the way, to quote this well, it is not UNCR or the government of Kenya which is not offering jobs to LGBTQ, but the people who live in this country and around the communities where we live, they cannot accept that, because you might even find that UNCR in its protocols and the government of Kenya might put it in writing that we don't have problems with LGBTQ, and is the reason why we are keeping them there. But keeping them there, how are they going to survive? It means for them they will not care because they don't have any problem with you as the people in authority, but they are not the one to give you jobs. So it means you have to interact with what they call integration in the community. And the people that we want to integrate with, they cannot accept that. So that means we have to find our own ways to survive. We shouldn't accept. And they say the fall of man is not the end of his kingdom. So for a man, you fall in life, you wake up, you stand up, you start from where you stopped and rise again. You build a wall, it falls down. You cannot say, I will not build this wall, because thieves and all the whatever, they will pass from where you didn't build. So with your life not fall down, it means you have to keep on percolating through rocks and rivers to make sure you make your life a better place, for your living. No
And,
one can.
and you need to ask for help. You
Yeah,
need to ask for help, and that's what
yeah, you
we're
have
here.
to ask for help.
And that's what we're here about. And we've run out of we've gone over the 30 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap this up and then give you a chance to just finish it up. But I want people to know how to get in touch with us, because that's the whole point. We're here today. Is we Alba and I are working together on a program, and if you're on the African side and you're looking for some help, whether you're living in the camp or you're living in urban Nairobi, it doesn't matter. But if you're LGBTQ and you're looking for a job, you want to get to work, join us in our Facebook group, Financial Heart Space for LGBTQ plus our allies, for business leaders and change agents. Go join us over there. And that's where you'll get to know us and we get to know you, and we can help you get into our program. If you are on the Western side, and I'm going to speak specifically to our allies, because the LGBTQ people, we're often so busy trying to take care of ourselves, but I know our allies are always looking for an opportunity to support us. So if you're looking for an opportunity, looking for a way to support our community without it costing you a lot of money and not a lot of risk, but just getting to know one, getting to know each other, willing to spend maybe less than an hour a day for 5 hours, having going through the OPP program to meet someone like Abba or Elvis or Juliet, to get to know them, opens up the gate, opens up the door of unconditional love energy, and that's where everything is created. So not only will it be not only will you wake up Abba like I did, or wake up them, they will wake you up. I mean, when I woke up Abba, I woke up. It's not like love is that flow of unconditional love energy is a beautiful flowing stream. It's always out there. And when we use the OPP program to get connected, it opens up that channel that's out there flowing. It takes down all the barriers. And that's where transformation happens in our lives. So it's an opportunity both for transformation on the Western side and on the African side to build a more powerful, loving planet in the world. And that's what we're all about. We're here about building a virtual community where we're all going to be working from now on, most of us. And that's a beautiful thing. We just got to learn to do it in a way that is coming from relationship. It's coming from love. So if you want to join us over there in our Facebook group, Financial Heart Space for LGBTQ plus, meaning our allies, business leaders and change agents. And so that's where you can find us. Abba, is there any one more last thing you want to tell people before we close this out, dear?
Yes, I would like to send a message, most especially to my fellow LGBTIQ on the ground, that you may reach me out, but I know all the problems and all the challenges that you go through, but I'm not able, because I also don't have that capability to carry every support that you need directly. But you can come to me asking about like the programs that we're doing. And the program is first come, first serve. So if I put you on the list and I tell you to wait seriously, somehow you have to wait. You have, we're following protocols, and like the posts, the posts, or like the gaps that we're having for the employers who are hiring us, they are very few. So we go step by step, and still, it's not a one day thing that we just come and then get a job. Everyone is eager to get a job, is really looking forward to see that he can work and be earning some money. But you don't have the skills and all that. So we have to take you through the OPP program. From there, you have to learn the skills, because after cultivating, but the best thing of it, that you cultivate the relationship between you and your employer. So we put you guys together, you cultivate your relationship within 5 days. After knowing each other, that's when, if that person is willing to hire you, then we teach you the skills that you need to be his virtual assistant, or a social seller, or like someone who carries out like the graphics and all that. You do the graphic designing and all that. So we request that you be patient and you understand how our protocol falls. Don't come to me telling me, Abba, I need money for medication and all that, because I don't have people who are directly donating to me.
Yeah.
That this money has to be there, and that's why we stopped the GoFund programs that we are doing, because they were not yielding any hope, and we're having more requests than the money which is on the GoFund. And in the end, we create up like a misunderstanding in our own community. Like you find
Yeah.
that you cannot sit together with Jeffrey, because he thinks me I get much money, or he will not understand how many people first came to ask for help with the prevailing money on the account. But what he will see, if the account has gotten something like $2,000, and it has been used since June till that money is not there. It is not there. It is being used. So if you come to that and you say, I saw the GoFund there was 2,000. How comes you cannot give me the medication I need? How comes you cannot buy for me food? So it is
Yeah.
creating chaos among us, and it is
Yeah,
dividing.
we've gotten. Thank you, Alba. We're out
Yeah.
of the go. We're not in the begging business anymore. I mean, I'm not putting it down. I know you guys need to do GoFundMe's. I know you guys, and I'm going to encourage you. That's not our job. Our our mission is to empower you to be financially independent. So if you want to become financially independent and get out of the GoFundMe and I need money, it's a slower process, I will tell you, because it takes a while. Like Abba says, it's not going to happen overnight. But if you'll get plugged into us, if you'll get to know us, and that's why we're going live today, both sides. That's what we're trying to do, is to get more. We get more people on my side and more people on Abba's side who are talking to us and coming into our community. We've got more people to match up in the OPP program, so that we can begin to move you forward into a working relationship that you can get a job. Okay. So you can find us. We're both on social media. Join our Facebook group. And Albert, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do, dear. I love working with you, and it's just, and I love what we're doing. I got to tell you, when I went to Africa last, Nairobi, and met Abba and saw the conditions of our brothers and sisters, I said I can't ignore this. I just absolutely cannot ignore it. And I committed myself to getting Abba out of that camp, which we did in January when I offered him a job. And now we've gotten out about maybe 6, 7 other people who are now working in Nairobi, working for people in the United States who are no longer living in the camp. And so we want to amplify that. We want to expand it and extend it to everybody in that camp. And we can do this. So please join us in our Facebook group. Please support us. And also stay tuned, because we got a brand new program coming out in just about a week. Okay. I think you're going to all be excited about it. So we're going to just leave it at that, leave you in suspense. But next week, we're going to be launching a brand new virtual community that's going to change the way people work in the world. Okay. Thank you for listening. May love and prosperity prevail across the world. Bye bye.